name is Pamela Vega. It is October 20th, 2015. I am interviewing Vincent Morandi, and he is a human resources specialist at Valencia College.
HR people do were either done by managers and secretaries. It wasn't like a separate department, but as society becomes more litigious and people are more particular about their paperwork being right, their hiring paperwork, getting their job offers correct, and how they're fired and hired and promoted, paid, HR has become its own field. And now there's a whole bunch of HR professionals, and every company has an HR department or outsources to an HR department, and so it's a budding segment of business. This is a good time to get into HR.
Okay. A question that I had was, what did you major in to get into human resources?
Oh, you should have asked Liz or Carolina. I'm a music major, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I went to Colorado State University, and I majored in music. I did bachelor's and master's out there.
So then how did you get to human resources?
Purely by accident.
Really? How?
I was out in Colorado finishing up the master's, and I moved to Denver, and I thought working was a good idea. And I was doing part-time work as an organist. I'm a church musician, an organist. And I didn't want to leave that position because we were doing new things, adding on to the sanctuary, all that stuff. I had time to leave. So I decided to get a day job. And I got a day job as an HR front desk coordinator. Yeah, just a little simple job. And they sent me for some training. And I stayed there for 6 years, and I handled their workers' comp and their benefits and their 401k and all the new hire processing, database, and reporting. And, I was there about 3 months, and then they gave me my own office, and I started doing stuff. A lot of stuff in human resources is common sense. Answering questions about benefits. If you can read the summary plan description about the benefits, you can answer somebody's question. Okay, this is an 80-20 plan, a 70-30. Your prescriptions are covered in a 3-tier, 15. So I'm just reading it off the plan description. A lot of those things are really common sense. Computer skills are a plus. Being able to work with a spreadsheet will get you very far. The small part of it that is really dedicated to HR is all about confidentiality and knowing what things you can share with employees and what things you can't, what things you can share with a manager and what things you can't. Like if some manager comes in and says, I want Joe Schmo's address, well, if that's not your employee, I'm not giving you their address. But if it's your actual employee that reports to you directly, I would probably give you the address so you can mail them something directly. When in doubt, you give it to me and I mail it to them. And those are the little things. What sort of things are just federal law, like wage and hour laws and Family Medical Leave Act law and that sort of thing. What's HIPAA protected, which is confidentiality when it comes to medical records. And of course with benefits we handle some medical records things. All of that is very specific to HR. And they sent me for that kind of training. So I just sort of worked my way into it. I just learned on the job. Then I ended up moving to Florida to take care of my grandmother and my dad, and I stayed doing human resources work, and 15 years later I'm still doing HR.
So what would you say were basically the main responsibilities of HR?
There are a couple of different segments and areas of HR. Mainly, we take care of employee needs. And working with, and this is sort of a buzzword, every couple of years people hate this word and love this word, and working with personnel, that's the word, so that they can, using personnel wisely so that they can help achieve the company goals. There are a lot of, and that's why I took my HR phone list out here. There are a lot of divisions. I don't want to miss any. So what I do specifically is the records side of it. So I do like records and contracts. That means all the new hires, all the terminations, all the contracts to pay the adjunct faculty. Primarily, that's the segment of HR that I'm in. So I process all of that. But I'm also what they call a generalist. And an HR generalist will do a little bit of everything, which includes the other stuff like benefits. That's a big one. Most people think human resources, they think two things: hiring, firing, termination, and benefits. My health insurance, my long-term disability insurance, my short-term disability, my dental insurance, okay. Benefits, big thing. 401k, retirement plans, big thing. There's also what they call employee relations. ER is basically issues, so dealing with how managers and employees relate to each other when it comes to issues like this person is late all the time, or my manager wants me to do this and I don't want to do that, or that's employee relations. When you have the issues, that's a big thing. There's also recruiting, which sometimes they call onboarding. That's what we call it here. So hiring people, how do you attract talent and how do you keep it? Payroll is sometimes part of human resources and sometimes it's part of accounting. It depends on how you set up your organization. Which leads me to another part of HR, which is organizational development. These are HR people that set up companies, set up organizations, and then help it to grow and change and provide instruction so that your employees know what to do within the organization. So if you're starting a business, I'm just going to open a business. Okay, well, you need so many people. You maybe need a manager, you need a secretary, you need people who work in the factory. You're going to need a custodian too. You're going to need somebody in accounting. That's organizational development. Then once they're all there, there's new laws coming, so we probably should send, this person to training for that. There's new IRS requirements. We should send this person in accounting to that. We're going to get some new machines, so we should do some training for these employees here. That's all organizational development. It includes personal development as well. There's an IT side to it, HRIS, HR Information Systems. That's another thing I did too, HRIT, HRIS, which is databases. We keep all this information about you when you're hired. The day you started, when your next review is due, when you have training, all that. We have to get it back out of the computer, and we have to track it in a way that we can use it. So that's a whole other specialty. Writing reports and tracking HR information is HRIT. That's sort of the computer side of it. Training is often an HR thing. We have a division that does that, that trains people. There's other specialties too, but those are the big ones. I don't think I missed any of the big ones.
Is there a lot of math involved in all that?
If you're in the HR IT side, it wouldn't hurt. And if you're in the accounting part of it, the payroll part of it, it wouldn't hurt to have pretty good math skills. But other than that, it's not.
Because if I'm going to do human resources, and my major would be human resources management, I have to take a bunch of business courses.
You'll do statistics in business. There's some math, some heavy math and statistics courses, but usually it's limited to a few formulas. It's not like you have to do a calculus cycle and stuff. You'll work with specific formulas for statistics. So most business programs have statistics. That's as heavy as the math will get. And then of course, accounting, you'll end up taking accounting courses. Have you ever taken an accounting course before?
No, I haven't. I hate math with a passion.
Well, math will grow on you. The problem with math in junior high school and high school is they rush you through it in 7 years on everybody else's schedule.
Yeah.
So if you miss one little concept in the first month of algebra, you need that concept for the next 6 months.
if you had another 2 weeks with it in the beginning, you'd be fine the next 6 months. But since 20 out of 30 people already got it, teachers moved on, and you're left holding a bag with 500 classes to, I got history, I got English, whatever, factoring equations. It'll grow on you now that you're an adult. You can take your time with it. So don't be afraid of math when choosing a major. Because you get a chance in college to just do 3 and 4 classes at a time. And you have a lot more tutoring opportunities in college than you ever had in high school. I mean, we have whole huge labs where you can go and they're going to help you with math. You didn't have that in high school. We have tons of learning assistants. Don't let the math scare you if you're interested in something. This comes from someone who chose an art major originally because he didn't want to do any math.
And you ended up somewhere else.
I ended up in music, but in between there I was nutritional science.
Oh, wow. What would you say you enjoy most about your job?
I'm supposed to enjoy it. But it was just a way to pay the bills, right? No, I've stayed, this is 16 years now doing HR, and I've stayed in it because I really do like at least dealing with people and helping them solve their problems, address their issues. I like working with people. That's the part in helping people. I like that part. The positions I've had, I've stayed with it because I've had nice positions. I mean, I get my own office. Everywhere I've been, I've got my own office. This is a mess right now. I just moved up here.
Oh, no.
So I have a junk pile in the corner. This wall had an extra door and window they took out for me, and I got it painted in the colors I want. I have a new desk coming. So right now I'm just heaped in here. But when I was downstairs, I had a very nice office. Every place I've been before, I get a nice office. We do fun things too. We do holiday parties. We do company picnics. There's some people think of human resources as like the party planning part of the company too, because that usually falls on HR, company newsletters, little things like that. So we get to do some fun things. So I like working with the people, and I like the fact that it's a nice working environment. HR it really is. It's usually not the same kind of crunch that you're in if you're in an accounting department. You're usually not as hard pressed for, I got to get it done. Bye. Yeah.
What would you say that you like least about your job then?
Actually doing work.
Actually doing work?
Oh yeah, I forgot I'm being recorded. Hi Vicki, that's my boss, in case you send this to her for blackmail. No, there are times when the workload can get very heavy because, this is probably true of everything. There are certain times of the year when you have your busy times, your crunch times. When it comes to human resources, your crunch times usually also involve people's paychecks or some other critical thing like benefits or actually getting them set up to start working. And that can happen all at once in a lot of companies, especially here. Like when the semester starts up, there's 8 million new people, and then all the existing people have all these classes where we have to process all their pay for their new contracts for teaching, and it all happens at once. Can we not spread this out? Wouldn't that be nice? It just doesn't work out. It's not the reality. There's so many semesters, and everybody starts at once. So the workload can be heavy at certain times of the year. There's my boss sending me a message about a canceled EPAF, for example. Okay. I already did it. Taken care of.
How is the pay in the job like?
It can be very good if you move up to the top. If you are an HR director, you will be making very good money in the company.
What's the director? Is it like a management or like manager?
That's the big boss in human resources.
Oh.
They're the very responsible person that's in charge of all of it. In Valencia College, it's Amy Bosley. And she's a terrific director, and, she gets compensated very well for doing that, as do most HR directors. To be an HR director, usually an MBA with an HR concentration, a business degree in HR is very helpful. But there's also a professional certification. There's the Society for Human Resources Management, and their professional certification, the senior certification, the SPHR, is looked at as an equivalent by a lot of organizations. So you can do the SPHR certification and get into a director's position and make, 60, 70, 80, 90, 150-ish, depending on, if you're in a public or private. It pays very well if you get up to the director's level. Entry level is not bad in human resources. It's on par with any other business.
Is it comfortable to live, or is it you're still struggling to pay bills?
Oh, I'm not struggling. I did very well in Colorado when I lived out there, but I was working for a private company. I moved here, I was also working for a private company the first time. I started working for public nonprofit. I was working for Park Place Behavioral Health Care before I came to Valencia, and Valencia, of course, is nonprofit. And nonprofits pay less because they're nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
You're not making profit, you can't pay as much, right? But the trade-off at Valencia especially is the benefits are excellent. So like the health insurance for employees, now not for their families, but for employees, is covered, it's free. And it will always be a minimal expense. The health insurance is a big chunk of change. So your total compensation package, when you take not just your paycheck, but then your benefits and your time off, is very good. So no, it's pretty comfortable. And once you move up a little bit in human resources, if you have a couple years in, you're going to do better than most salary scales in business. Marketing majors are a dime a dozen. Management, like retail management, whatever. Assistant manager level, what do they get paid? When you become an actual manager, like in retail, sure, they make good money, but they also work, 60, 70 hours a week, and they're under constant pressure to produce sales and stuff. But human resources, at this level, it's a 40-hour-a-week job, and pays pretty well. When you move up a little from, I'm not going to say the level I'm in, because I end up working a lot of overtime, and they're talking about reclassifying my position. But when you're in what they call an exempt position where you don't get overtime, so you're kind of expected to work more than 40 hours, the pay is increased accordingly. So it's pretty competitive. No, HR is a good field. It really is. And the big thing is to strategically position human resources in the company so that now HR is part of all the decision-making and planning. And that's been like the last decade. I've seen this change since I've been in it for 16 years now. So now HR people get invited to all the big meetings. Our campus HR director is always in the president's meeting, the deans and the college president. She's always in there. We have a new campus opening in Point Siena. HR is part of that whole conversation, developing that, and how we're going to provide not only HR services, but how do we fit into the big picture? Well, we have input in that. So HR is really now as big a part of the organization as every other department used to be. You always needed an accounting department. You always needed somebody in sales and marketing. You needed somebody in shipping and receiving. Well, now HR is part of that. A lot of HR vice presidents in companies are at the top levels and at the board level. They sit on the board. It's a big change over 25, 30 years ago.
So HR, you would recommend, it's a good field?
Yeah, if you like business, I would consider being in HR. If you do an MBA with an HR specialty, there's no reason you couldn't also just work in any company as an MBA doing whatever, as a VP in some other area, just because your specialty is in HR. I have a friend who used to be a regional